Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kayla Howard, and I'm the Customer Success Director here at SUMO Scheduler. I'm delighted to welcome you to our second webinar hosted by myself and Angela, my wonderful partner in crime. She heads up our support delivery, and she's a solutions engineer here at SUMO. She'll be taking us through the creation of an online scheduler link, and she'll be educating us along the way on some incredible features available to customize your processes. For those of you that don't know or aren't familiar with SUMO, we are a native Salesforce appointment and event scheduling platform that really takes the headache out of booking meetings so that companies can focus on developing the customer relationships that drive growth. So by the end of today's webinar, you'll have a good understanding of our online scheduler to include use cases where you might already be leveraging the online scheduler, or maybe you want to begin leveraging the module. You'll also know how to build your very own customized booking link, and you'll have a good understanding of the different features available to you to really enhance your processes. And then last, but certainly not least, you'll have the opportunity to engage our support directly here through our chat functionality right within the Zoom meeting to address any questions that you have. So you can post any questions throughout our meeting. We do have our SUMO support on standby to keep an eye on those questions and be able to respond quickly to you. And if for whatever reason there are questions that we're unable to get to today, we'll make sure that we capture those right within the presentation that we upload to our YouTube channel and our websites so that you can take a look at any of those questions that maybe didn't get an answer during today's session. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. So for those of you already using our online scheduler, you know the magic behind the scenes that really enables you to post a customized booking link to seamlessly integrate with your website, social media platforms, and your email campaigns. That being said, be sure to tune in. There's some cool tips and tricks that Angela is going to share along the way that have been rolled out in a few of our most recent releases, and we want to make sure that you know how to use those features. For those of you that are new to the online scheduler, imagine giving your clients the ability to book appointments effortlessly anytime and from anywhere. So our online scheduler provides a solution that allows your customers or partners to be able to self-schedule appointments with your team 24/7, 365 days a year from any device. Definitely sounds pretty powerful, doesn't it? So you can always, you can see some additional use cases that we're going to have up on the screen in just a moment. But let me take you through really quickly a few of the ways that we here at SUMO use our online scheduler. So our sales team actually leverages it right from our SUMO Scheduler website with a Talk to an Expert button. And it's a great example that really shows you how prospects can schedule appointments with our sales team. And we, on the back end, utilize Salesforce lead assignment rules and our assignment engine to round robin those incoming appointment assignments around the sales team to make sure customers get answered in a timely fashion. We get those meetings booked, and we share the wealth amongst our team. Our support team also leverages our online scheduler links. You can deploy a schedule a support call button in your customer community or another SaaS application to enable customers to schedule a support call with the right support person at the right time. In the service space really gives you the ability to streamline services by optimizing schedules and offering clients the convenience of booking right on the go with the right support person at the right time. Our marketing team leverages the ability to schedule a meeting through online scheduler and mass email campaigns to drive more appointments to our sales and support team. And then we have medical practices and wellness centers that are leveraging the online scheduler to be able to book various types of appointments with their patients. And many educational institutions leveraging it to be able to book those admissions interviews, tours, counseling sessions, and even student consultations. So a lot of different things that you can do with the online scheduler, and I'm really just scratching the surface here. So with that said, let's go ahead. We're going to dive in, and Angela's going to walk us through how to be able to build that online scheduler and cover the different features that we have access to so that you can take a look and see the different ways that you can really optimize and customize those scheduling links for your needs. Angela, let me go ahead and turn it over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. So first and foremost, how do I get to the online scheduler to be able to create one? So you'll notice here in my org, I'm in the SUMO admin settings, and right here, you'll see online scheduler. So I can navigate here. I can create a new online scheduler. I can edit an existing one. I can delete an online scheduler, and I can also clone an existing one, which would make it easier and save some of those things that I have. So for this purpose, I'm going to go ahead and click on edit so we can walk through the very first page here. So first is you're going to give this scheduler a name. So most of the time I see customers name this what it's controlling, because you can use the online scheduler on your website. You can send it out in email campaigns. You can have it in your social media accounts. So maybe online scheduler website, something like that. So you know exactly what's controlling or what this online scheduler process is used for. Here we have our links that you'll have. Once this online scheduler is created, you'll see these links populate. If it's a brand new process, these will be blank until the very end once you click that save button up there. And then these would be the links that I would copy and paste and add to my website or send out in an email campaign. These are the pop-up JavaScript code that I would use if I'm going to embed. And then my online scheduler type. So within SUMO, we give you the ability to schedule with leads, contacts, or person accounts. So here in this process, you'll see that I have it set to leads. So right now I have it set to match based on email address. So what's going to happen is SUMO, once the customer fills out this form, SUMO is going to look in your Salesforce instance and see if this lead already exists based on email. If they do already exist, it's going to book this appointment against that lead. If they don't already exist, then SUMO will create new and book that appointment against that specific lead. Same things apply if I do business contacts or person accounts. If I clicked on that, it would expand the section and you would see the same options here. Just note that if I have it set to leads, it's going to match on leads. If I have it set to contacts, it's going to match on contacts. The only time it's going to kind of intertwine would be as if I have it set to leads, it will match a contact that was created via lead conversion.
And then Angela as well, we have some ability to match using Salesforce duplicate roles, correct?
Yes, yep, right here.
Awesome. So that really gives you the ability to add multiple matching criteria versus just matching on one field as SUMO does it here.
Yep. Okay. And then here's my branding where I can add my logo or my background image, any colors or fonts that I want to do, some custom CSS for overrides, and then my advanced notice and furthest. So how far in advance and how far into the future do I want customers to be able to book appointments with me? So maybe it's an appointment that doesn't require a lot of prep time and my people that are hosting these appointments don't need a lot of time before the appointment starts. I can set this to 1 hour or I can leave it at 1 day and I can allow them to book, 30 days out or 60 days out, potentially even 90 days out if I wanted to. And I can go past that 90 days. That just requires a support getting involved for that. My CAPTCHA, if I wanted to enable that. Blacklist. So if I have somebody that's spamming our website and booking fake appointments or something to that effect, I can add their email address here or their domain, which would make it so that if they tried to book an appointment, they would receive this custom error message here that I've defined. So they would not be able to book appointments with that scheduler process anymore. And then something that was added recently in our past couple of upgrades was these scheduling limits for the online scheduler. So this will limit the amount of times a participant can schedule on a day, week, or month. And if I just leave it set like this and say I set it to 1 per week, it's only going to apply to this one online scheduler process. I can check these boxes over here and apply it to all online scheduler processes, all manually scheduled appointments, all invite links, and then I can define that custom error message that participants would receive if they tried to book that appointment within those limits.
And Angela, we also have service limits and user limits. Now, does the online scheduler respect those limits as well?
Yes, absolutely. Those limits are respected in the online scheduler.
Awesome.
All right, and then if I navigate back up to the top here, you'll see that I have this lead tab. Because I have this process set up to match based on leads, you're going to see this lead tab. If I had it set to match based on contacts, you would see the contact tab over here. And this is going to be the order that the customer will see the pages. And I will, once we're done with setting up the online scheduler, I will pop this open and show you what it's going to look like from a customer's perspective. So right here, if I click on the lead tab, Throughout any of the SUMO pages that you'll see here, any of these labels or subheaders, you have the ability to change to meet your business needs. So even if you didn't want that button to say next, if you wanted it to say continue or proceed, you have the ability to change even the button label. Then if I scroll down a little bit, these are the fields that the customer is going to fill out when they go through my online scheduler process. I do have the ability to add additional fields here, and I can make them required or not required. I can make them active or inactive, which would hide them. And then I could add a default value here if I wanted it just to be there, but always have a default value. I can also add help text here. So maybe if it's something that I want some additional information here and the customer might be a little bit confused as to what I want, I can add that help text there. And if they hovered over top of the field, they would see that additional information. I do have the ability to add up to 13 exposed fields. So if I have this one hidden, it doesn't count in my limit there. So I can have a total of 13 exposed fields on the page. And then within SUMO, we give you the ability to pass multiple parameters. So you can pass a lead ID, a contact ID, a location ID, a service ID, a host ID, and even a resource pool ID. So in this page, if you're going to pass the lead ID, right here, you're going to tell SUMO what you want it to do. Do you want it to skip that page, or do you want it to pre-populate that page? And also some additional settings about ownership. If I scroll back up to the top, I then get to the where page. So the where page is going to control the location in the process. So right here, I have the 3 separate locations in my process. I can easily move them in or out of the process as I want to by doing this. And then I can choose if it's going to be video conference, phone, our location, or your location. So say I only have one location here. And it's a virtual. So if I have this one location set and it's virtual, SUMO is going to skip this page and not expose it to the customer unless I uncheck this box. Then it would expose that location if it's a virtual appointment. I can define a default country code. I can also change any of these labels here as to meet my business needs.
And then Angela, did you touch on parameters just yet?
Yeah, I talked about parameters a little bit when we did the lead.
Let's come back to that really quickly. What are some use cases where we might want to be able to pass in those parameters?
So if you're having this online scheduler process on maybe your customer community and you don't want that customer to have to fill out their information, you can use the passing of the parameters to pass the lead. So that way that customer doesn't have to fill out the information because we already know who they are. They're logged into your community. Or for example, once we get to that service page, if you know exactly what the service is going to be, then you can pass those parameters. Or same thing with the host. If you know who the host is going to be, or you want it to always be a specific resource pool, you can pass those parameters through.
Awesome. And team, I've just posted a link to our knowledge base article that talks a little bit more about passing parameters if you want to check that out.
Then if I go ahead and go to the what tab, this is going to be my SUMO services. So your appointment types. So same thing with locations. I can easily add or remove these as I want. I can control where they show. So if I wanted them in a specific order on the online scheduler process, I can change the way that they're exposed. And then also can change the subheader here. And again, just like the where tab, if there's only one service in here, SUMO is going to skip this page and not expose it to the customer so they don't have to choose a service when there's only one to choose from. Then if I navigate to the Who tab, this is going to be who can host appointments created with this online scheduler process. So I can define this at a user, profile, or group level. And you can see same thing. I can add or remove different users by just a click of a button. And I can reschedule against a pool. So what that means is if this appointment is booked, say with Kayla, and I have this process set to round robin or load balance, it's going to apply that assignment logic to assign that appointment to Kayla. And if the customer chooses to reschedule, do I want it to only show Kayla's availability and always reschedule that appointment against that original host that was chosen? Or do I want it to pool all availability together and potentially change the host of that appointment? That's what that reschedule against a pool option will do for you.
And team, just
I
keep
have
in
my
mind as well that the users that you add here to be included in the process, let's say you're offering 3 different services and you want to make sure that Chantel shows up as available for a particular service. Always make sure that she offers that service. So if you run into an issue and you pop it up, you go to choose a service and you find that Chantel's never offered, that's the first place to go back and check your services offered to make sure that they offer that service.
Then I have my different assignment logic down here. So I have round robin, load balance, random, priority based. So I can set priority level to maybe I want Kayla to get #1 priority of the appointments over anybody else because she's the expert in this specific service that's applied to this online scheduler process. I can allow the customer to choose who they're going to book their appointment with. And in some scenarios, that will work. I know as a customer exactly who I want to book my appointment with. But in some scenarios, I can still use user choose and allow the customer to choose, but they might not know who they want to book their appointment with. They have the option to add filters and display different fields here for maybe they want to speak to a specific person that speaks Spanish or is located in a certain area. You can add those fields here for customers to be able to filter to choose that correct host that meets the customer's needs. I can come down here and do your location assignment strategy. So if you're one of those customers that goes out to other customers' locations, so say their home or a place of business, we have different your location assignment strategy for that. And there's a really good article that Kayla will share in this presentation about the differences between the zone-based and the area-based. Just keep in mind that if you're going to do this type of assignment strategy or this type of location options, you'll want to have that Google Maps API key. And after I'm done with this, I will show you where that key would be added. Again, can change the labels. And then here in the additional settings down here, so like I said before, SUMO gives you the ability to pass different parameters. And if I'm going to pass the host ID through as one of the parameters, and for whatever reason that process fails, this section down here, you're going to tell SUMO what you want it to do. Do you want it to default to a resource pool, let the customer choose who they're going to book their appointment with, or immediately halt the process and display an error message? Optionally, you can also send an email to the admin if the process does fail. So one of the reasons that this process may fail is if the user doesn't have availability for that location, but you're passing them through as a parameter, the process might fail. So these options would come into play there.
Thanks for sharing that information, Angela. It's definitely helpful to know that.
So if I come back up and I go to the When tab, this is going to be for my times. And right now, by default, out of box, this is going to have all time zone settings, because the way that the online scheduler works is that if I click on the online scheduler, it's going to default to Eastern because that's where I'm located. And if you're in Pacific and if you clicked on the online scheduler process, it would default to that. It also will default to this one if you've removed that option from the customer. So say I've removed Pacific from over here and the customer is in that time zone. It will default to this one if I have a default set. If I don't have a default set, it's going to gray out that box and make that customer choose the time zone. And it might get a little confusing if they can't find the time zone that they know they're located in. So just keep that in mind when you're creating your process. I can choose to display the calendar type in a day view, in a week view, a 12-hour format, or a 24-hour format. And here I can control my intervals. So out of box, it's set to display the time options in 15 minutes. So that's going to be 8, 8:15, 8:30, and so on. I can also change it to 60 minutes and have it be at 8, 9, 10. Or I can do appointment duration. So if I have multiple different skills in there, so 15, 30, and 60, if the customer chose a 60-minute duration, it would show those slots in that appointment duration. I can also choose to display them at the top of the interval, which would display those at starting at midnight and forward. So midnight, 1, 2, and it would always display it at the top of the interval there. Okay. If I scroll back up, I have this additional info. And here I have the ability to add some additional custom fields from either the event or the SUMO additional info object. So maybe I have those lead fields that I want mapped back to the lead. I could add those to the lead tab. But maybe I have a couple of fields I want to capture when the person is scheduling this appointment that I need mapped back to the event or the SUMO additional info object. This is where I would go ahead and add that field. Again, I can make it required or not required. I can hide it. Just make sure if you add a field here, you also enable this section, because I do that all the time. I add a field and then try to figure out why it didn't display. It's because I forgot to enable it. I also have the ability to let customers invite other people, enter notes, or upload attachments. And I can turn these sections on or off independently. So maybe I want all three of these sections on, but not this one. Or maybe, you know, I want it configured like this. I can turn them on or off independently.
Yeah, I really love the ability to add additional participants right from the booking screen. So it allows you, for example, the medical space. We've got patients that might add their, their son or their daughter, their spouse to be able to come along to the meeting. They're not the primary person that we're going to be meeting with, but they're there to help support the participant. Same thing in the business space, right? Maybe I want to bring along a manager, or I want to be able to bring along somebody on the support side of the house. I have the ability to do that right through this feature.
Yeah, absolutely, Kayla. So then if I go ahead and go to the book tab, again, I have some headers that I can change. And then here I can add a custom message for the confirmation page when the customer books their appointment. So I'll show you where this lives when I pop it open and show you what it looks like from a customer's perspective. But I've seen customers put parking instructions here, just to kind of thank you the way that you see me here, or you can put any additional information they might need for their appointment, like, hey, don't forget to bring X, Y, and Z to your appointment. I can turn on and off the cancel, reschedule, print, add to Google, and add to Outlook buttons. And then another new feature that we added in one of the past releases recently was the advance notice for cancel and reschedule. So if you don't want your customers to be able to cancel their appointment within 24 hours, you can come here and set this to 24 hours. And then if they tried to cancel, they would receive this custom error message that you put here. So what I've seen a lot of customers do here is put, if you would like to cancel your appointment, please call this number or email this person. So that way it's not kind of just saying, hey, you can't do this, and not giving them, another option to reach out. This won't stop you guys from internally being able to cancel or reschedule that appointment. It will just stop the customer from the cancel reschedule link. Okay, and then I go ahead and go to the notifications tab. Here's where I would set up my reminder cadence. So for my email reminders, and then if I get my SMS through SUMO, I can set up my first text reminder cadence and then my second, and I have these different options to send those reminders out. And then here are my SUMO email templates. So these email templates are housed in classic email templates. They are completely customizable, and we're using standard Salesforce functionality to send these out. So these templates right here are going to come into play if the host calendar connection is Google or Salesforce. And then these templates down here are going to come into play if the host calendar connection is the Salesforce calendar. So just keep that in mind when you're creating or modifying your template. So maybe all of your users have Gmail or Outlook. You might not need to customize these ones because no one's connected to the Salesforce calendar. It'll save you a little bit of work there. And then here's where I would set up my text reminder template. Just use these merge fields over here. And then that's the text message that my customers would get. Then when I'm all done, I would go ahead up here and hit save up in this top right-hand corner. And then if I navigated back to the global tab, I can come here and click on launch, and my online scheduler would launch. So that way I can take a look at it and see what my customers are going to see when they go to book their appointment, to make sure that it's exactly how I want it and exactly how I expect it to look. So I'll go ahead and pop this up so you can see what it looks like from a customer's perspective. So first things first, the customer will come in here and enter in their information. I did pre-enter my information, so you didn't hear me click-clacking at my computer. So once they've entered their information, they can go ahead and hit this next button. They can choose video conference or our location, because that's the way I have it set up in the process. If it was phone, they would see that option as well. Go ahead and hit video conference. Then I choose my services here. So go ahead and choose that 15-minute service. Then I can go ahead and choose my date and my time for my appointments. And you'll see here it did default to that Eastern. Go ahead and click next. This is that additional info page, so I can invite other people, enter a note, upload a file, and then I would hit schedule appointment. So what's happening is Sumo's looking to see if this person matches a lead that's already in the system. If it does, going to book that appointment, send out emails, send out ICS files, and then the customer gets this confirmation page. They can reschedule or cancel directly from here if I give them that option. Plus, they would have the ability to cancel or reschedule from that email and ICS file. Here's that custom message that I wrote to them that you saw in that booked page. And then from here, you would see this on the Sumo multi-calendar and in the activity history of this lead. Okay.
And then Angela, really quickly, you talked about the hour location and the Google Maps API. Where would I adjust that setting?
Yeah, so here in the Sumo admin settings, I would navigate right here to general settings. And then if I scroll just a little bit, right here is where I would enter my Google Maps API key.
Awesome. Thank you. And team, I'll go ahead. I will share an article to the Google Maps API and key instructions that we have right on our knowledge base so that you have that for reference. We grab my URL and we'll pop it right in. Okay, so Ben's got a question. Is there any plan to add more flexibility to the reminder engine? Specifically being able to send out multiple reminder emails, maybe an additional once a week, or some useful information to prepare, not just the one. Angela, could you talk us through how we might be able to accomplish that?
Yeah, so right now in the online scheduler with even the invite manager and the online scheduler and the notifications tab, it just gives you the option for one email reminder cadence. If you're in a version prior to Sumo 17, you could set up a workflow rule to achieve this. Or if you're in a version after Sumo 17, you could modify the existing flow that we have that's now sending out the Sumo emails to add that information in to send out an additional reminder. And if that's something you need a little bit more help with, feel free to log a case with our support team and we'll be happy to help you out and walk you through that.
Great question, Ben. Okay, guys, well, we're really going to open it up. We've got a couple minutes left. So if anyone has any questions out there, yes, I do. But if anybody has any questions out there, feel free to pop those in the chat. With that being said, I'm just going to let you know that what we will end up doing is we will take the video recording from today's session and we will go ahead and we're going to post that in multiple places. It's going to be available on our Sumo Scheduler YouTube channel. It'll be available via our website at sumoscheduler.com. It'll be available on our knowledge base, which is really a great place to find more in-depth information, tips, resources. We really encourage our customers, prospects, anybody out there interested in learning more about Sumo to check out that knowledge base. It is open to the public. And there's also an awesome ideas exchange there where you can take a look at other features that have been requested and it gives you the ability to upvote those features as well. So you can kind of see what's been requested, who's looking for those features, and also be able to see what status they're in as we take a look and review to see what can be added to our roadmap. But overall, guys, we have covered a wealth of information today about Sumo Scheduler's powerful online scheduler solution. And we definitely hope that you found this webinar insightful and that you're excited to really explore how it can transform your scheduling processes. So remember, our team is here to help support you in every step of the way. So if you ever have any questions that maybe we didn't cover here, or you just want to be able to talk through them at a later time, feel free to log a case with our support team. You can do that right through our knowledge base. You can do that right through the admin page of Sumo Scheduler, as long as you're on version 17 or later, or you can email us at support@sumoscheduler.com. With that being said, guys, it looks like we have no additional questions out there in the chat. So I will let you guys all get back to your very busy days and just want to say thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day, everyone.